Hello everybody, how are you? We're heading north out of Charlotte, back to the northern states. We're gonna be in the northern states. Hey, guys, we're getting such a reaction about these Charlotte videos. I've got a few of them up. Some we posted yesterday, some this morning, and golly, people love Charlotte. But somebody asked me, how can I buy a house in Charlotte? Get ready for a loud sound right now. I thought it was going to go, you know, those cuts they make in the asphalt. Yeah, so how do you buy a house in Charlotte? You know, now Charlotte, believe it or not, is one of the more reasonable real estate markets in the country. But it's growing fast and prices continue to rise, which is good for you once you get on the train. But how do you get on that train? So here are 5 ways to buy a house in Charlotte that are a little unusual. And I'm going to make them up right now. So this is a parody. It's not real, as are all of my videos. But I make sure you know that on a few of them, because this one will probably get a lot of hits. So number 1 way to buy a house in Charlotte is to simply move into a house that already has people in it. So what you want to do is, they're eating breakfast, you just want to plop down next to them at the breakfast table and start eating alongside them. And they say, who are you, why are you in my house? And all you want to say is, look, we'd like to buy your house. We're going to make you the best offer, but before we do that, we want to make sure that it fits our needs. And that is a pretty reasonable statement. So I would say if you're polite and you don't get in the way, most people are not going to have a problem with it. So at the same time, don't lowball them, because remember, you've stayed in their house for 2 weeks before you even made the offer, and they didn't call law enforcement. Okay, and so now it's up to you to make a fair offer, because if you lowball them, what they might do is take your stuff and throw it in the street and call the cops, and you'll be spending the next 5 to 10 years in the pokey. So that's kind of a high-risk one, but it gives you an opportunity to really sample a house in a real-world environment. Because otherwise, what happens is they move out. Let's say somebody moves out and then puts their house for sale. Well, they clean it up nicer than it was. They make it. They put in real estate. The term is curb appeal. They give it a paint job. They plant flowers, right? Well, what would it look like after those flowers get torn up by your dog? That's what you wanted. So that's what you want. Real world experience. Number 2 on the list of how to buy a house in Charlotte for a reasonable amount of money, here is really the subtitle, is to let me move over here. Get a house that you can make out of sod. You want to build your own house out of sod. And now what does that mean? It means that you'll be able to mow the roof. Now if you can mow the roof and hit the sides with a weed whacker, right, hit the sides of the house, here's what you avoid. You avoid the cost of a normal house upon construction. You avoid the cost of painting a house, and you avoid the cost of re-roofing the house every however many years. And if you're smart, you'll be able to grow plants and tomatoes and other fruits and vegetables in the sides of the walls of the outside of your house. Now, there are certain drawbacks, and of course, those will come to the fore as, you might get some ants inside your house, but you just hit them with the raid and you'll get pretty good. You get to be a pretty good shot after a while. the cockroaches, boom, you hit them with the Raid, the insecticide, right? And you'll get to be such a good shot, you're not even going to worry about it. So that's number 2 on our list. Now, number 3 is an interesting way. All you want to do is go out into the woods and take yarn and run yarn from tree to tree to tree to tree branch to tree branch to tree branch. String yarn about 800,000 or 900,000 times back and forth across the branches until you've built a 3-bedroom house out of yarn. Now the problem is the floor, so you're gonna have to come up with some flooring options. I would suggest using duffel bags. You might want to get those 10 milliliter bags from the grocery store that they have now, the thick ones. You might want to throw down those blue tarps you can get at the home improvement store. That's one way to do it. Now, if you think it's going to be more of a permanent construction, you could pour some concrete there as a slab and then throw down some carpet samples that you can get at the yearly annual carpet remnant sale at the carpet store in town. So a yarn house is one way to go. That's a way to buy a house for very inexpensive. You have to buy the yarn, but of course, and there's some labor, but you might be able to get your kids to do that. Now, number 4 on our list of how to buy a house in Charlotte at a reasonable price is to go ahead and find a house that is newly built, like newly finished but not sold, okay? And then take it apart. Like take a wrench and a claw hammer and take it all apart. And what you want to do is take your phone and take pictures of what it looks like. Because what you're going to do is put it on the back of your truck and then steal all the material, take it apart, get all the pipes and the wood and all that, and then take it to where you have a more affordable lot that you probably farther away out of Charlotte, and it might be good to have cover from satellites so that they can't put a spy satellite on you and find you. But steal all the stuff. Well, let's don't say steal. That's a harsh word. Let's say borrow. Borrow all the stuff from the house that was just built and then rebuild it on your lot. So you're going to need a few skills to do that. If you don't have those skills, you might be able to hire a kid from a local high school. Just tell them it's a friend of yours home who said you could have the material, because you really don't want a minor knowing that you're borrowing the stuff. Now, if you have any problem, it does help to have high-speed chase skills. So if you were ever the wheelman in a heist, or even if you did stock car racing in high school on Friday nights, that's going to help you in case you need to do some high-speed eluding. But that's an easier way to do it than to try to buy these homes that are so expensive. And finally, number 5 on our list is kind of a different one. There are so many remote cabins around Charlotte, up in the hills. What you're going to want to do is go up in a plane, look for smoke, mark it down, parachute down to where the smoke is, and you'll probably find an old guy in a beard, a man of the woods that left society in 1947 and has never stepped back into society since. Make him a reasonable offer. Now remember, you're not cheating people out of, but tell him that he really doesn't have any option. You're going to move into his shed. But if you give him a good enough offer, chances are you won't have any problem. Okay? Or what you could do is build an addition on the back for the old man. Or just build yourself an addition on the back and you live in it and just pay him rent. That's probably the best way to do it. And then tell him you want to lease to own, and however many years you lease it, and that part of that lease applies to the ownership price. So guys, those are 5 ways to buy a house in Charlotte for a reasonable price. Some of them are unusual. They're all unusual, let's be honest. But in this housing market, you got to be creative.